Hello, welcome to another episode of Uncle Russ's Comic Talk. I'm Uncle Russ. We're going to be talking about comic books today. I have some comic book history, older history, and some new stuff. And we're going to have some comic books for sale on eBay at Lot 22 Sellers. Stay tuned.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Ming Chen from AMZ's Comic Book Men, and this is a Lock 22 production.
First up, Marvel Age. This was the Marvel Comics news magazine. Preview of coming attractions, behind the scenes articles and interviews. This was a interesting book. Only sold for 35 cents a copy. Lasted a few years, and this is what your real serious hardcore comic book nerds went for. This is Marvel Age number 18 from 1984, featuring an article about Quest Probe, a proposed four-part miniseries based upon an Atari game, or the original Atari game system. It was supposed to run 4 issues and only ran 3. It remains an unfinished story that was due to the game actually going out of business before the comic book was finished. Also, there is in this ongoing history series, The Marvel Age, 1966, Part 1. You've got humorous comics by Fred Hembeck. You have history of TSR and their connection with Marvel through the Marvel Superheroes role-playing game, and an interview with Denny O'Neil. This can be yours today for $4.99. Be on the lookout for the Marvel Age Omnibus, which will be coming out late this fall. It's a $125 book, which has most of the issues of Marvel Age all in omnibus format, custom made for comic book nerds like myself. Next, Iron Man from Marvel Comics. You fans of the Invincible Iron Man will remember back in the 1980s, the Armor Wars era. This is right from that era. Iron Man number 226 from 1988, featuring Stingray. The plot was co-plotted by David Michelinie and Bob Layton, with the script written by David Michelinie, the breakdowns by Mark D. Bright, and the finishes also done by Bob Layton, who co-plotted the story. Also, Mark D. Bright and Bob Layton did a beautiful cover here. This can be yours today for the low price of $5.99. Now from DC, how many of you remember Infinity Incorporated? These were the sons and daughters of the original Golden Age Justice Society of America, the precursor to the Justice League of America. This is a tie-in to the famous Crisis on Infinite Earths. Cross is over with that series. We've got Roy and his wife Dan Thomas plotting this. Roy Thomas, writer and editor. Early Todd McFarlane artwork. Todd McFarlane and Mike Hernandez share the penciling chores on this, with inks by Steve Montano. This one especially features the Golden Age Hourman, Green Lantern, Starman, and Dr. Midnight. $9.99. Peter Parker, Criminal. Here's some 1980s Marvel goodness. The Amazing Spider-Man, number 219 from 1981. Beautiful Frank Miller cover, written by Denny O'Neil. Pencils by Luke McDonald, and inks by the great Jim Mooney, veteran, classic master of the comic book arts, who I personally remember most for illustrating the Supergirl backup series in the 1950s and 60s. That was a backup feature in Action Comics. This also features an appearance with the Gray Gargoyle, not to be confused with Isaac Christian's The Gargoyle, later to be a prominent member of the Defenders. This one, I can't believe we're letting it go this low, especially with a beautiful Frank Miller cover like that. Only $14.99. And more Amazing Spider-Man from Marvel. Skip ahead just a few years to 1988, Amazing Spider-Man number 297, featuring Dr. Octopus. As you can see, this has the new black costume for Spider-Man, which later turned out, as you all know, to be Venom, a symbiote. So this is after the first Marvel Secret Wars. David Michelinie, writer, Alex Saviuk on pencils, and, as I always say, one of my favorite inkers, possibly my favorite inker of all time, Vince Colletta. Classic goodness. This can be yours for the low price of $6.99. And next, we have a historically important title from DC Comics, The Adventures of Superman, number 464 from 1990. This became The Adventures of Superman with issue number 423. Before that, it was the original Superman title. When John Byrne revamped Superman with the Man of Steel series, they started off Superman with the number 1. The old title was retitled The Adventures of Superman, sort of an homage in a lot of ways to the television series, The Adventures of Superman. This one features Lobo, with a cover by Dan Jurgens and Brett Breeding. Also, inside written and penciled by Dan Jurgens with inks by Art Thibert. This can be yours for only $12.99.
Hello, everybody. It's Ben Shrewsbury.
This is Uncle Russ.
And we are the Two Marks from the Two Marks and a Spark Wrestling Show right here on Lock 22. Be sure to check us out every single Sunday and sometimes Monday for all your professional wrestling needs, only on youtube.com/Lock22.
And here's the oldest book we're offering this week, Adventure Comics number 416, going all the way back to 1972. Just a little over 50 years old. This is a historically important title. At the time, it was one of the longest running titles in comic book history. It actually ran to 503 issues, which isn't as big a deal now because Action Comics and Detective Comics are well over issue 1,000. However, this started as New Comics in 1933. To give you an idea of the type of strips that were in that first issue, you had the Vikings, you had Billy the Kid, you had Sagebrush and Cactus, and I'm not making this up, a character called Sirloin of Beef. It eventually became New Adventure Comics, and then became Adventure Comics. This is a reprint book. It simultaneously is also numbered as DC Comics 100-page Super Spectacular number 10, because there are some collectors that just want to collect these 100-page beauties. 100 pages of comic books back in 1972 for just 50 cents. This features Supergirl, including a retelling of her origin story. This has Wonder Woman with Wonder Woman in bondage, which a lot of people are collector. Back in that era, Wonder Woman was quite often putting men in bondage, and this one, she's in bondage. So there's a little bit of an appeal to fetish collectors for the old Wonder Woman. We also have Black Canary, the original Golden Age Black Canary, featuring Johnny Thunder, and a lesser-known character from Star Spangled Comics, Mary, the Girl of 1,000 Gimmicks. Also, Phantom Lady by Frank Borth. Some of the writers featured in this are Leo Dorfman, Robert Kenninger, and Otto Binder. And classic artists, Jim Mooney, Carmen Infantino, Frank Giacoia, Harry G. Peter, and Winslow Mortimer. This is a really good deal. This is a highly sought-after series for both the Adventure Comics side of it and those who want to complete your collection of the 100-page Super Spectaculars. $39.99, and that's a steal. All right, from my personal collection, this is one of my recent acquisitions that I'm very happy to have. An absolutely hilarious comic book strip, The Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers. I first discovered underground comics when I was in about the 8th grade. There was a little head shop in Storm Lake, Iowa. We used to call them head shops. It's where we'd go to get our rolling papers and our roach clips, and they always had underground comic books. Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers was one of the best. These are the adventures of Phineas Freak, Free Willin Franklin, and Fat Freddy. The hilarious ne'er-do-wells. These were very funny. They were underground comics in general were considered adults only. You had to be 18 to buy them. I had no trouble whatsoever as a kid in junior high buying anything I wanted in that store. The hippies that ran the place didn't give a damn. But anyway, there's nothing really filthy, just a little bit of minor nudity and some adult language in this, and lots and lots and lots and lots of drug references. This was created by Gilbert Shelton. He was the creator. He also was a musician, but in addition to the Freak Brothers, he created a character by the name of Wonder Warthog. Also, Fat Freddy's cat was a funny character. Eventually got his own strip, which started out as just a single gag series of short comic strips, but evolved eventually into full-length stories. Included in this collection is a book called Animal Park, which is considered by many to be one of the first animal rights type stories. There also is collaboration with a couple of other underground comic book people. David Sheridan collaborated also on this book. He passed away in 1982. He's best known for his collaboration with Gilbert Shelton on the Freak Brothers, but also created a character of his own called Dealer McDope. And also Paul Mavrides, who's still around, underground comic artist, photographer, and painter. He collaborated on the Freak Brothers from 1978 to 1992. He also has collaborated with Harvey Pekar, American Splendor. And another little side note is he is one of the founding members of the Church of the Subgenius. This is a highly recommended book. It's a lot of fun. Fantagraphics Press, who keeps a lot of this stuff in print. Only $23. Well worth it. Black and white comics, hardback collection. This one showed up in my pull box, courtesy of the owner of my local comic book shop, who gives me the right of first refusal on books like this to come in. He knows this is something that Russ would like, and 9 times out of 10, I snatch it right up. A lot of fun. The Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers. Hopefully you found something that you liked today. If you'd like to purchase any of these books, check for the links in the description below. There'll be more books for sale every week. Lot 22 sellers on eBay. Lot 22. Have a good day. Luck.